You just a popo me, you just a go. You know they answer me, ewo, 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 kilo deo, ewo, 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 kilo deo. City where they beg you, she bambi alamu Jenny, and you know say you find too. All the girls go they find you, all the guys gonna find me.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll take the national anthem right now. And good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi. Xian Hao. Buenas tardes. Ekason. Inaini. Mokum Ekumdo. Oroka. Maino. Inaini. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in on this conversation today at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council to discuss a very, very important and topical issues. For today, we will be talking on eradicating poverty through digital governance in light of prevailing factors and current realities. On the panel today, we have some very eminent Nigerians who have offered to share some insight. Permit me to introduce to you, part of our guests, we'll be having Malam Mukhtar Tafawa Balewa, who is the former National Coordinator, National Poverty Eradication Program, NAPEP, and Senior Special Assistant to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Also, we'll be joining today with fellow Solomon Okonkwo, who's a developmental practitioner and business analyst. Also, we'll be having fellow Rukaya Mohammed. Fellow Rukaya Mohammed is Director of Health and Environment, Nigerian Youth Congress. Just quickly, permit me to quickly read up their citations. I know we're all going to be interested to see what they have done and what impact they will be making on today's policy dialogue series. Malam Mukhtar Abubakar Tafawa Balewa is a Nigerian politician and hails from Bauchi State. He is of Nigeria's late Prime Minister Sir Tafawa Balewa. Having penchant for writing, he was discovered and nurtured from an early age while he was at Epsom College, an elite public school in England. He had grown up in Britain's rural Kent and Sussex for nearly a decade, attending Westbrook Hay Preparatory School in Hertfordshire for 5 years before his years at Epsom College in Surrey. The support by his literature master went a long way in whetting the young lad's appetite for fiction, as well as later preparation of research papers. Malam Mukhtar has served the federal government administrations of President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan as special advisor on social and economic development. Thank you so much for that. Up next, we'll be talking about fellow Solomon Okonkwo, who is a multi-skilled professional with a superb track record of managing complex functional projects in various environments, able to manage stakeholder expectations and willing to take full responsibility for the delivering of project objectives, positioned to deliver leadership excellence with proven resource mobilization and maximization methodology, innovative, operational efficiency, and cost reduction. He is a development specialist having a great experience in policy and public affairs analysis, facilitating human rights and peace advocacy, marketing, business development, advisory and management, a high capable change agent that consistently refines and revitalizes strategies and procedures, introduces innovation, designs change, and facilitates solution-driven team. He is an enthusiastic problem solver, a self-motivated achiever, and proven bottom line contributor with solid record of revenue mobilization and cost reduction through process redesigns, survey negotiations, organizational reengineering, and human management, and an effective communicator and relationship builder with superior detail orientation who gathers and imparts information effectively across all management departments and team. Last but not the least, fellow Rukaya Muhammad is the Director of Health and Environment, Nigerian Youth Congress, and also served as the Vice Chair of Violence Based on Gender. Rukaya is a community activist in Nigeria. She is the CEO of Women Rights and Sustainable Society and has developed a range of youth-led projects. Over 11,000 youths in over 45 different communities. Her experience spans from environmental chemistry, capacity building, advocacy, and women rights. She founded the Nigerian Youth Climate Network to promote, preserve, and protect, that's 3 Ps, the climate situation in Nigeria and across. She co-designs and experiments innovational projects that build leadership, increase awareness for youths to catalyze Africa's development and social challenges. She is a famed promoter of global cooperation with years of experience in youth engagement and social programs for development, human rights, peace, and nonviolence. She has a strong focusing on women empowerment and gender equality. I guess we're all excited to join in. Once again, my name is Ibrahim Onoja, the moderator for today's Policy Dialogue series. Up next, without wasting so much of your time, we would like to invite Ambassador Rekia to commence the conversation today. Thank you so much. Ambassador Rekia, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good afternoon, all.
Yes, would you like to show us your face?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm having lunch, but anyway, let me try and show my face. Hello, can you hear me? Can I go ahead?
I didn't get that.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please, you can. Please go ahead.
Okay. I'm just like so happy how powerful I am to overcome the men and be the first speaker.
Yes, you have. Please go ahead.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay. Yes, please go ahead. I see
Okay,
you came well prepared.
Yeah. I'm prepared. Sorry. Can you see my face now?
Still coming up.
Coming up?
Yes, I can see your face now.
Sorry,
You're
this
welcome.
weekend actually. So hi everyone, happy weekend. How we doing? Oh, Can you hear
We're
me?
doing fine and hoping to tap into your wealth of experience today.
Oh, like serious? I'm blushing. Anyway, I'm so excited. It's an honor given to me to showcase my little potentials I have and which I think can help us rebuild and eradicate the current situation we are into, which is a major disease, which is poverty, sorry to say. So anyway, let me just go to the little point I have in seeing a way forward, how the Nigerian government can rebuild strategy, can rebuild more policies, can rebuild more severe steps that can easily eradicate poverty via digital governance. Sorry. So, oh God, let me see how. Hi, God, are you with me?
Yes,
I'm not with my laptop. I'm so sorry. I'm not with my laptop, so you have to bear with me. I have so at least you've seen my face, so I've turned out the camera down. I'm so sorry about that.
No problem.
So anyway, let me start by the introduction. Despite the positive narration around the globe, though not all the news are good enough, which we all know. Today, more than 700 million people live below the poverty line. That is, people live less than $1.90 in a day. Yeah, which is very, very awful, sorry to say. With more than 72 of this population in Africa here. Additionally, the COVID-19 pandemic has done a lot of chaos, more and more, to this population we are into, which double it up. And then further 71 million people into the extreme poverty under the baseline scenario, and 100 million under the downside scenario, which wipes out the progress made in poverty reduction since 2017. That means we've gone front, like we've upgraded, and due to the pandemic, we've stepped down again, which is very bad. The nature of digital divide is complex and debatable. Therefore, an accurate diagnosis of its causes is imperative in order to discern and implement the proper solutions. The digital divide is wide, though. There is a strong correlation between the digital divide and poverty. Almost 40% of the world population lives in low-income countries, particularly here in our own dear country, Nigeria. About 1 billion people have no access to ICT. Information is the key. In addition, the digital divide comes in many forms. Studies demonstrate that regardless of how many info kiosks or telecenters are installed in a low-income or developing country, the probability of internet use is 10 times higher for a person in a developed or high-income country than a person in a developing country. This demonstrates that education and changing mentalities are key factors in bridging the digital divide. Governments should act by developing and using e-government tools in order to enhance e-readiness, encourage and educate the usage of ICT, and support the development of ICT skills in a non-discriminative manner. Because I'm sorry to bring this issue, why I use the word non-discriminative manner is because of we have this kind of issues of the Yahoo boys we are having, and it's due to the extreme knowledge of this ICT. Sorry to say we all know about it. And all these kind of things happen from our young people. Though I believe that the key issue of all this happening is the poverty whatsoever, is lack of employment for our young people, is the lack of adequate knowledge for our young people. Now you don't need to go to school before you can operate the computer. We all know that. Not as all these Yahoo boys. I don't think they even went to university, most of them. Some of them learn from their friends. So if the government want to really use digital governance to in eradicating this poverty, they have to make sure that it's indiscriminate. It should be in an indiscriminative manner, so that all of us can be safe. We can plan. We can't say because we want to use the digital tool to enhance our potentials. Then a lot of crisis might be developing, which happen mostly in our younger constituencies. Sorry to say, as a youth activist, I know I'm talking about the kind of chaos, the kind of situation, the kind of difficulties our young people face. So I think I have some little points. I think there are some causes and solutions to digital divide, which I think I can share with us. Maybe we can learn more. Researchers report a wide variety of factors which favor the increasing gap, such as, among others, low income and other financial limitations. Lower quality or
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was muted all along. So what we're looking at today, we're discussing these issues, and I figured we have Solomon here with us. So Solomon, are you ready for us? If you're ready, we quickly take you while we'll take Mala Mukhtar shortly after your presentation. Solomon, can you hear me? Hello, Solomon, can you hear me? Malam Mukhtar, you're welcome, sir. Can you hear me also? If you can hear me, can you unmute your microphone, please? Can you unmute your microphones?
It's unmuted. You want me to start the video?
Oh, yes, please. You can start the video, sir.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
Me, I can only see my eyes here.
Okay. Can you still hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Shortly before you joined, we read out your citation, but seeing you're here already, wouldn't mind to take that again and then kickstart the conversation in earnest. So everyone, we're joined live by His Excellency Malam Mukhtar Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. You'd agree with me that that's a name we all are very familiar with and are conversant with. I mean, you can't discuss Nigeria without mentioning that name. So we're joining with Malam Mukhtar, who is with us, who's a Nigerian politician and hails from Bauchi State.
I'm not a politician. I'm a technical chap.
Okay, we have a technocrat with us here today, who has at several points in time held some political offices. We're talking about the administration of His Excellency former President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan as special advisor on social and economic development. And he was also the former national coordinator for National Poverty Eradication Program, that's NAPEP. I don't think we can forget that in a hurry. And then today we're discussing eradicating poverty, which is a very important issue, eradicating poverty through digital governance. And I don't think we can find any other better person than His Excellency Malam Mukhtar Tafawa Balewa. Thank you so much for joining us once again, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So you have the floor, sir, for your presentation, sir.
Well, let me get the hang of this camera, first of all. Okay, we're talking about using technology to develop an economy. But let's realize that it's human beings who made the technology in the first place. It's supposed to serve them. So if the human being has his faults, it's reflected in his technology. And again, the technology may be perfect, but the human being is faulty. Either he doesn't understand how he's supposed to operate it or maintain it and manage it, or he deliberately does not wish to operate it properly, or he doesn't care. So we're between an ecosystem and an attitude. I think maybe that's how I'll start. We can take it on from there.
Fantastic, sir. Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for that very amazing submission. We have Ambassador Rekia Muhammad, who is also here with us. Ambassador Rekia, if you're ready, we could take you quickly before we move in to the comment and question section. So Judy can yes, thank you so much. So Ambassador Rekia, over to you. You can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Sorry for the network failure. I'm so sorry.
No problem. While we were waiting for you, we already had His Excellency Madam Balewa, who made this submission. So over to you, Ambassador.
All right, no problem. Oh, thank you. I stopped at the causes and solutions to the digital divide, right?
Yes.
And then, yeah, I said researchers report a wide variety of factors which favor the increased gap, such as, among others, low income. I don't want, sorry, okay, sorry. Such as low income and other financial limitations, lower quality or high price connections, low level of education, lack of digital literacy, poor technical assistance, and limited access to quality ICT content. The cost and affordability of ICT is a big issue in so many countries, particularly in my dear country, Nigeria. And that's why even face not quite long, we are having a weaker signal in terms of technology, sorry to say, or virtual things are always a little bit distracting, which is due to the network. I don't know per se. So like the cost and affordability of ICT is a big issue in many countries, particularly in my own country here in Nigeria, but a bigger one is the lack of knowledge and the understanding of the technology. Young people are highly potential with a lot of knowledge, ideas, but then there's difference between knowledge and being educative, which are these two different things making us to feel like we all occupy the same. Sorry to say that, to my own view. So that is why the use of ICT sometimes is not giving us what exactly we want, and which is one of the major issues I think that causes this digital divide. So now study shows that over 40% of the world population does not have the opportunity to learn how to use a computer. This is the hardest issue to address, as it implies changes in both education and mentality, as well as investments in e-services. E-governance should play the leading role in creating usable e-governmental tools. Regardless of the level of education, some governmental websites are very, very complicated and unfriendly both in access and in content. Adopting an integrated and citizen-oriented approach may lead governments to increase equal opportunities in the use of ICTs. Cooperation between relevant stakeholders in the e-government field, such as central government, local public authorities, the private sectors, academia, civil society, and international organizations is a key factor. These stakeholders should act upon the guidelines within the commitments taken at the Tunis agenda for the information society. The ICT application and the implementation of e-government strategies promoting transparency in public administrations and democratic processes are an important part of the common vision. And guiding principles. International collaboration together with provision of means of implementation will take us one step further in bringing digital divide. Government should play the leading role in enabling creation and deployment of accessible e-services and understandable ICT content. Moreover, they should facilitate the development of a proper and non-discriminative environment for e-government through regulatory frameworks, strategic directions, and government guarantees. E-government should become a similar powerful instrument in bridging the gap, such as ensuring affordable broadband to access. New technology could provide easier to use devices such as computers and mobile access. On computer and mobile communication, sorry. A good example is a device called Simputer, which is extremely easy to use and can be used even by an illiterate. Furthermore, scientists predict that by 2018, the number of mobile phones will be equal the world population. These are facts that should awaken government all over the world to act, and let's all be digitalized. A comprehensive approach is appropriate assessing the digital divide is essential. The international ranking is usually based on the number of internet users at its major connectivity, and access. If we take into consideration that there are many countries with problems such as illiteracy, lack of running water, or widespread famine, the approach is deficient. International organizations should adopt a comprehensive approach using both quality and quantity-based indicators. Evaluation has a vital role in measuring the success or failure in the implementation of various methods for bridging the digital divide gap. The involvement of government and suitable e-government tools could become leading actors in bridging the gap. Government ICT applications should play a crucial part in diminishing the digital divide between the younger and the elderly people, women and men, the illiterate and the educated, or even between less developed regions and countries. The media, along with the local authorities and academia, can and should be the major tool for efficient and effective communication and dissemination. The government of developing countries should raise the priority of e-government applications in their request for international assistance and collaboration, as well as international financial support. The next step must be the harmonization of e-government regulations, building and reaching a consensus in the implementation of a basic kit of interconnected and interoperable e-services. Some people say that the internet is rapidly transforming our society, which is, yeah, it's true. ICT, the computer, and associated network play an increasingly important role in the process of learning and in people's career. Accordingly, the existing digital divide has a negative impact on people living in less developed regions, as well as those in the lower socioeconomic strata. The only stakeholder who can provide equal opportunities are the government. So they should assume a leading role in e-government governance as a key instrument in closing the divide. The key element in developing e-governance as a defining factor is bridging the digital divide, which are international, national, and regional cooperation, harmonization of legal framework and regulation, ensuring a minimal package of interconnected and interoperable e-services, promoting ICT skills and digital literacy in a non-discriminative manner, educating and preparing the population of less developed regions for the information society and encouraging the e-readiness, running pilot e-services in less developed regions together with the proper technical assistance, developing e-learning and suitable ICT content, developing e-participation and the inclusion of various social categories in policy making, decision making, and even by using new media technologies such as social networks, using of mobile communications as infrastructure for the dissemination of e-services, increasing the transparency in decision-making and budget spending by implementing e-services, involving the citizen in all aspects of local and national public administrative process, and also increase the quality of life in all aspects. In all aspects, through better e-services and access to knowledge. Let me wrap this up. We know that through technology, through the ICT, there's a lot of development in the country. Through ICT, a lot of people are making their money at home by doing online businesses, promotions, advertisements. A lot of women have learned a lot of who really we are through the technology divide. I'm proud of that. So I think if government can put more emphasis by making our technology to be more stronger, to be more safer, and then I think eradicating poverty through digital governance now, it can be fully used through assessing good digital governance, eradicating poverty. We can rebuild our economy, we can eradicate poverty through digital divide. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Rekia, for that very amazing submission. Quickly, before we go into the discussion proper, or the question and answer section. I see we have with us Solomon Okonkwo. Is he still with us?
Okay.
Solomon, can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you unmute your microphone?
Thank you so much. I can hear you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
So good to have
afternoon.
you.
Yeah.
Can we see your face? Can you turn on your video?
I'm trying to do that. Okay. Network.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you so much. So sorry for joining in late. I was just trying the network challenges, and it was great listening to a great leader and a patriotic and statesman as well. His Excellency Dr. Balewa, and listening to Ambassador Ricky. That was a wonderful presentation. Let me apologize for joining in late. Not quite long I came in, but network as well. So thank you so much. It's
amazing. I mean, it's okay. We're having you joining on the conversation already. So that will make up for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Before you joined, His Excellency already made his submission, and then Ambassador Ricky already made hers as well. So let's quickly take yours, please.
Thank you so much. We're talking about a very good topic. We're talking about governance. We are talking about digital governance. We are talking about poverty eradication from my own sector, the developmental sector. We're not talking about eradicating anymore. We're talking about creating wealth. We're talking about I'm so happy having our His Excellency Mukhtar Balewa here, the former national coordinator of NAPEP. And right now we are talking about how do we make digital governance, how do we make governance work for the poor, work to make sure that we create more wealth, work that will make sure we lift more people out of poverty. No wonder is the UN #1 goal, end poverty. And the question we ask ourselves, how ready are we? How ready are we? I listened to Ambassador Ricky talking about digital divide. I listened to her talking about the need to create more digital literacy. And the truth about it is that the importance of digital transformation cannot be overemphasized. And we need that will, the governance. People are ready to have a strategy. People are ready to implement the strategy. People are ready to have a very good roadmap. People are ready to create that enabling environment, because right now we're talking about digital, we're talking about the internet economy, the knowledge economy, and talking about digital. So governance as a whole, if I can just permit me to quickly make a short, to share my screen, if I can.
No, it's fine, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you can see my.
Okay, coming up. Oh, we lost that.
Yeah, it will come up right now.
Okay.
So the importance of digital technology as a whole can really not be overemphasized, because right from time with different okay, I think it's coming up right now.
Okay, yeah.
We have it.
Yes.
So we're talking about eradicating poverty through digital governance. The whole essence of government is to make sure that we make life better for its citizens. And it would be good for us that we look at, thanks to these two tools, we live in a more connected world today. We are talking from different places. We can have somebody from UK now joining us now for technology. And we're talking about governance. When I come to that, let me just run through this and talk more so that I can keep to time. The advent of digital technologies have a great extent, resulting into better livelihoods for mankind and greater developmental outcomes across the globe. Because right now, even in different sections being held in the United Nations, for you to carry out some humanitarian actions, we'll be talking about how do you do that using digital? How do you use that using technology? Because we are talking about is where you must carry out interventions with the infusion of technology. And you're talking about social, health, agriculture, everything, education. You must infuse technology, and governance is not left there because governance oversees everything about the citizenry. So from better service delivery to greater banking experience, easy information and communication transmission, better healthcare system, disaster relief management, which is terrible here, better access to education, delivering education at the right level, increased resource management system, and so on. We are talking about here the need, the importance, and what we've gained on digital. So gone are the days where everyone had to be at the banks and shopping malls, the markets, the stores and shops, the ticketing booths. But what about in governance? Are we allowing the digital benefit technology to come into governance in Nigeria? We have the traditional verse of the digital salvation. What technology has helped us achieve, or this way. Let's talk about governance as a whole and see where we can play a very big role here. The governance and digital transformation. Governance as a whole encompasses the system by which an organization is controlled and operates, and the mechanism by which it and its people are held to account. So we ask yourself, can we relate that to our current situation in Nigeria? Yes, we signed a whole lot of agreements in making sure to it not being the after that we go, that's not gone live, but really going to full implementation very well. And there's need also to have technology there. We as the Nigerian government, are we giving that enabling environment to make sure we put in digital technology, let me do technology to governance? Because what that does is that it makes you to make informed decision. It ensures accountability, transparency, it increases trust. People get to know what you are doing. There's no way right now you want to deploy humanitarian. There's no way you want to then make sure that the economy goes without putting technology, encouraging it, not shutting it down, not making it difficult for you to operate. How are we leveraging to deliver good governance, better governance to the citizenry using technology? If we take a post-mortem assessment, or we take a holistic evaluation on why several social service mechanisms or programs has failed, you ask yourself, where is transparency? Why our budget not working? Why people don't know what's going on? Even data is digital governance, because you need to have data to make informed decisions. We have to show accountability. The process must be transparent. And that is why we must, as a nation, advocate, drive, and also the government, ask the government, demand that the government enables digital involvement, digital inclusion in governance for better good governance. And there are four main areas of digital transformation. That's technology, which must be welcome. There's data, there's a process and organizational change. We saw in just completed the election in Anambra State, what INEC was trying to introduce, the B models, making it possible as well to make sure we make our elections credible, free and fair as well. So over the years, we have participated in advice on studied hundreds of digital transformations, and the need can be emphasized why we need.
Can anyone see Mr. Solomon's screen?
Sorry, can we see it?
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, can you see it, please?
Yes, we can see this. I can still see it. Yes.
So how does this come into governance? How does it make it better? So a range of information, technology-driven changes, giving rise to the reintegration of public agencies, a more citizen-centric approach to service delivery, and the electronic mediation of interaction between citizen and state. This is what we are going to have when we enable, when we create this enable environment, when we welcome technology, when we start making it open. Because right now, aside reducing the cost of governance, it makes the process transparent. It makes the citizen to be able to be involved in decision, and makes even the government to make informed decision. And through that, you have data, you have facts that you can even use in creating wealth. It's talking about eradicating poverty. Good governance is essential to combating poverty, and governance is about politics, or the way in which citizens and government relate to each other. Good governance requires state capability, responsiveness, and accountability. It means making politics works for the poor. Permit me to remove the word poor here and say making politics works for the citizen, making politics works for the governed, making politics works for the state. Yes, we've created the digital economy, and you ask yourself, there is a digital economy agenda that will lead us to 2030. Ask yourself how far they've gone. In August, some months back in August, the Minister of Digital Economy and Communication was talking about what technology has raised as an income to the revenue to the government. And you ask yourself, who else? Yes, we have the 8 pillars of digital economy, but ask yourself, how far, who can talk about it? Because it seems that it's been hidden. There's no way you can bring in a transparent, people don't know what is going on, but technology can let us do that. World creation. We're talking about reducing poverty, but we got to a point because we can go on and go on and on talking about poverty and education, but the main essence is making the economy better for people, creating more wealth, which digital can do, which technology can do. You can deliver education through technology. People can have access to that. You can see our readiness. Yes, our penetration. I don't want to repeat what the Ambassador Enrique has said. Fantastic presentation. I must commend that seriously. I want to just go from a different dimension. You can see the penetration rate we have. We are among the countries. I think Nigeria was ranked 112 to 135 on digital readiness, even penetration. You can see how difficult it is. But yet, there's need for us to do that. Poverty reduction, or you call it poverty relief or poverty alleviation, is a set of measures, both economic and humanitarian, that are intended to permanently lift people out of poverty. Measures like those promoted by Henry George in his economics classic, Progress and Poverty, are those that raise or are intended to raise ways of enabling the poor to create wealth. And that's where the development people comes in, to create wealth, sustainability wealth, self-reliance. Because once you do that for themselves and as conduit of ending poverty forever. Poverty reduction occurs largely as a result of overall economic growth. Food shortages were common before the modern agricultural technology. And in places that lack them today, such as fertilizer, pesticides, and irrigation methods, the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, as far back as then, led to high economic growth, eliminating mass poverty in what is now considered the developed world. For instance, we are carrying out intervention in agriculture where the more of those in the rural sector are. You can provide agricultural extension services through technology. They can know how to plant good agricultural practices through technology. You can reach them through technology. You can make them can bring the market to them. You can link them to the market. You can even provide access to finance through technology. And this is what the government, in delivering the dividends of good governance, should enable, should create, should support. Poverty reduction requires governments to identify and reach out to extremely poor and help them out of poverty through sustainable measures, not by sharing money like we saw last time during the COVID-19, sharing money to the poor without data. We have the school feeding program now. We don't know the data. People
sorry,
don't trust
them. We have 2 more minutes for you.
All right, I will just make it quickly and we can come back. So digital governance, like my former speakers have said, is a means of using information and communication technologies at various levels of government and the public sector and beyond for the purpose of enhancing good governance. It also implies utilization of information technology, information and communication technologies, and other web-based technologies to improve or enhance on the efficiency and effectiveness of service delivery in the public sector. At this point, let me just make a wrap up. I will think there's more time for questions and to throw more light on that. So we're using this. You can see what the NIDAC is doing, using digital to promote advocacy, to call on accountability, transparency, anti-corruption. Yes, the government have started by doing the digital economy, creating a ministry for that, having a roadmap for that. But for you to infuse digital and to use as a tool to create a lasting, sustainable wealth for your citizenry, you need to create an enabling environment to support it. It will make sure that you have accountability, transparency, reduce corruption and cost of governance. So the pros outweighs the cons, but we must make sure that we have an effective roadmap, something that is holistic, that makes sure that people, that even the policies being made supports the inclusion of digital into governance. Thank you very much.
That was very fantastic presentation from Solomon Okonkwo. I must thank you and commend you for that. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. I can see His Excellency nodding in approval as well. Thank you so much. So quickly, it's been amazing listening to all the speakers make their submission and all of that. But interestingly, while we're having all of these conversations and bringing out all of this data, comparing Nigeria with maybe other developed countries or advanced countries and all of that, Your Excellency, I would like to ask, is it possible to eradicate poverty in Nigeria? Is it possible to eradicate extreme poverty in Nigeria? Is that possible?
I think you're talking to the real excellency, Her Excellency, the ambassador, not to me. I told you I'm not a politician and I'm not an ambassador. So you must be addressing Ambassador Rekia. All right?
Okay, Malam Mukhtar.
Okay, that sounds a bit more acceptable.
Malam Mukhtar,
okay.
Is it possible to eradicate extreme poverty in Nigeria?
It's a difficult question to ask. I mean, after having heard from Solomon and from the ambassador, you realize that the ecosystem is critical. We're talking about
Malam, we've lost you. I can't hear you.
I believe it's network. It will come in very soon.
I think it's frozen or something. I think it's network. Okay.
Something really complex, quite primitive.
Then we lost him again. Malam, we lost you there if you can hear me.
I think Lagos is offline.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
We lost you at some point.
I can hear you. So what I'm saying is that with such blips and glitches, and you're talking of a country which is 1 million plus square kilometers, and you've got 200 million people, out of whom at least 20 million are your investable youth who can change things. And you've got to provide the infrastructure, the training, the backup, the administration for all of this. So I would say that it's beautiful what we've said. It's beautiful what we've said. But let's go back to this drawing board.
Okay.
You don't have an economy which is rooted in IT. You don't have a civil service or institutions which are trained to manage, operate, and then eventually transfer these skills to the youth. And IT is not about education, because the farmer can operate IT from his phone. It's about skill. Are we in a position to provide that skill? Put all the blah blah aside, all the highfalutin talk about good this and good that, and just give them basic training. How much does it take to train a farmer to become a rice grower? How much does it take to train somebody in the village to process his rice? Because rice is a national commodity. How much does it take to train them to remove sand from the rice? Nothing. But are your extension services people already available for that? In agriculture, there's an abundance of them. How many projects have we had which have now lapsed? like the ADP projects, agricultural development projects. Almost every state had these. Our irrigation projects, where you have huge dams and you've got Periamabri in rivers, and you've got Bakalori and so on and so forth. Lagos, I think they have 3 irrigation projects. But we brought South Africans to Nigeria to go and see these places so that we could create grassroots jobs for youth and farmers. You know what they said? Can you guess what they said? They said, wow, in South Africa, we don't have anything like your infrastructure.
Wow.
But then the next statement shocked us. They said, but what we're worried about is nobody is on your on your irrigation schemes. There are no farmers. When they make their small farms, people work on those farms, whether they're large farms or smallholder farms. But in Nigeria, we spend billions, trillions of naira on infrastructure. It's now all lying fallow. We have a mindset problem. So however clever also we are, however much techie-wise, tech-savvy we are, if we cannot bring it to the grassroots, we've done nothing. That's why a lot of countries look at us and they shake their head. Look at Malaysia. We gave them the rubber plantations. We gave them the palm oil. Today, their economy has grown out of these 2 commodities. They're the world leader in palm oil. Nigeria's palm oil plantations, tell me, when's the last time you saw an oil plantation that works? Rubber plantations, where are the trees? They're 40, 50, 80 years old. And these plantations were built by Nigerians in another era, when at the tail end of the 50s to the beginning of the middle of the 70s, we were conscious about development. We had development plans. We knew how many children we were going to train to become pilots, how many we wanted to train to become soldiers, how many wanted to become doctors and so on. But we have been overwhelmed by all our problems. But coming back to it, if your generation is to make an impact in the next 20 years, let's say 20 years, let's say Solomon is a bit in the older generation than yours, from the look on his face and his almost graying face like mine, you know. I don't see many gray hairs on your face, Abraham, not yet. Maybe
No, I don't have
Nigeria will
gray
get to
hairs.
enough. But they're coming. Between now and then, what are you going to offer to Nigeria? Talk? Are you going to go to Europe and get lost in the job market? Or you're going to sit and fix some of these problems? We have mills which don't work. They haven't worked for the past 40 years. We have factories which are sitting idle. There's still equipment is sitting in boxes, and it's been there since the 1980s. You know, really important factories in boxes, sitting down with overgrown grass. That's criminal. So our attitude has to change. I hope you will aspire to be governor of your state. And then when you get there, you'll have the courage. You have the courage to actually open those boxes and get them to work. I've come to Kaduna. I'm in Kaduna right now. You see, the governor has an idea what he wants. He had an idea before he came. But like Mike Tyson said, he said, sorry, this camera is in the wrong parts of my face. Anyway, so
okay, this is
Mike Tyson said, it's good to have a plan. You have a plan until you get hit in the face, until you get hit by reality. I mean, you can want to weave and dive and escape the other guy's blows until he lands one on your face. And then you're knocked for 6. Your plan goes. The next thing is to survive. Is that what we have become in Nigeria? We're just surviving from day to day. We go to school not to get skill. We go to school to get education. And a lot of times, like in IT, that education is actually obsolete. How many of our children know anything about Cisco? How many of them know anything about SAP? These are the platforms which you can quickly deploy and get some results. But do we have that skill? We don't have that skill. Are we ready to learn? A lot of graduates are looking for government job. So the mindset, that mindset is very, very critical. So what I want us to understand, all these lovely ideas, they exist, they've been implemented. Let's go back to Malaysia. Now, Malaysia has Cyberjaya. It's the capital, it's a hub, but it's paperless governance. You don't pick a piece of paper in Cyberjaya. It's all transacted online. Of course, now you've got to also have security so that people, your envious competitors in other countries don't come and steal all your government ideas and so on and so forth. The opposition doesn't get to know what you're planning to do to build bridges and so on. But it's very, very critical to realize that they have studied what they have done. They have done it for the past 20 years, researching the benefits and the merits and the demerits of going, and they've reached where they reached. What we have is basically a society which is ready to grow, but it's not developing. It's like when you put a farm together and you allow the weeds to overgrow, you've got growth, but you don't have any development. You come looking for the fruits of your labor, but you don't see it because it's overgrown by inertia, either social, political, or economic inertia. There are some states which can't even go to the farm. Why? Because there's insecurity. It's all over Nigeria. Whether you're in the south or in the southwest or southeast or south or the northeast, north south, north central, wherever you are, we have these constraints. And of course, a lot of it is now tied to unemployment of the youth. You can buy somebody for 20 kobo to go and pick up a machete and go and knock his neighbor down. But when he has a job and he's got a wife in the house and he's got beautiful children at home and they're going to school, is he going to pick up drugs and go and start doing nonsense? Somebody who wants to become this or that. His children don't do it, but he looks for this young man to go and bash up his opponent. So if the attitude is wrong, we are not development oriented, we're growth, spend money on it. I told somebody very important. I said, we have not succeeded in Nigeria fighting poverty. We thought it's just to throw money at it, it will go. Okay, very well. In the process of throwing that money, some clever people will be putting it in their pockets. They'll drive the chickens away that are supposed to eat that chicken feed and put it in their pocket and become very wealthy. You know? And they're the ones responsible for making sure that these things operate. We don't have network. Okay, you don't have a network. Why is it not working? How come Rwanda has all of these things and their system is working? How come Burundi, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, they have these systems operating? I don't operate. So it's a human factor which is at fault. It's not our brains, it's our hearts. You know, when the heart is good, the whole body will become good. When the heart is sick, the whole body becomes sick. So it's got to do with our attitude. The way we are taking life is like everything has a price. But the dignity of our country, does it have a price? We should be ready to give our lives for it. The generations to come, do they have a livelihood? We should be ready to sacrifice our immediate so that our children, our grandchildren have a better place to live in. I think Kennedy said, if the poor are awake, the rich cannot sleep. There's a consequence because you're afraid. You haven't given him his food, his education, his water, his electricity. What do you expect? So to me, having been in this terrain, I've got 1 minute left. Having been on this on that seat of poverty eradication. I told them you can do poverty alleviation, but China is eradicating poverty. In the past 5 years or so, they removed about 300 million people out of poverty. But there's an authoritarian state. In Africa, I think when you look carefully, you will see that Ghana, Botswana, Rwanda, even Kenya, perhaps Uganda have gone very far in achieving this. So you need visionary leadership. You need skills, very important. Germany is what it is, not because they have professors. Germany is what it is because they've got boys on the lathes making Mercedes Benzes. Then they're not highfalutin educated people. They have what you call they have operative tactile skills. They'll be able to fix your car just from the sound of it with the right tools. They've been trained. Carpenters, you know, some places you dare not sleep on a bed because you're afraid of getting poked by some nail somewhere. You are walking on a street and the tiles. Okay, even worse than that, you've seen that. How many houses have been collapsing in major cities in Nigeria? In the primate city of Nigeria, Lagos, how can a 21-story building just collapse? Okay, what's been done with it? They should exhume that man and shoot him because he was the one building it. In China, they shot the woman who was in charge of the equivalent of NAFDAC because she was selling adulterated milk, powdered milk to babies, which caused many children to die, and they investigated. They shot her. I'm not subscribing to shooting everybody, but for God's sake, if somebody steals 30-something billion naira,
it means people should be held accountable.
What happened? Accountable, but you ask her what happened, and she said, snake eat them." Which kind of ridiculous country is that? So we need to look at our attitude, our approach to governance. Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
To me, that it all, from my experience, that's where it all starts. If you think you can get away with it, they should be afraid of ICPC and EFCC. That's a bogeyman. Whether you're president or no president. So thank you very much. Sorry, it's my sort of realistic approach to it. We have all the brains. Look at them. Look at the people you invited. Huh? Look at yourself. But what are we bequeathing to our children? God help us if our own children become drug addicts and they become whores and they become this and that because they're trying to make a living or they're frustrated. So in the next 20 years, what's this country going to become? More poor, perhaps. Broken roads, collapsed buildings, etc. Because we couldn't do it right. Thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I know I'm not the only one who took note of quite a lot of the points that Malam mentioned, but thank you so much, sir. That was fantastic. Quickly, let me go to the chat box and then quickly pick out a few questions. We're already far behind time already. To Mrs. Rekia, it says, in many local governments in Nigeria, sorry, I'm trying to get that out. It says, in many local governments in Nigeria, we see a divide in Nigeria. We see a divide in the administration through the use of technology tools. What would you recommend as a basic criteria to employees of government, especially when they don't take these things seriously? As a developmental expert looking at Malam Mukhtar's submission on Nigeria losing its track on development plans, what would you recommend to get us back on track? And that's to Solomon now. And then we will need to get ourselves back on track. The government has created development plans for years to come, but yet we see no change. So quickly to Rekia and Solomon, do you want to quickly address these questions? The first question is, in many local governments in Nigeria, we see a divide in the administration through the use of technology tools. what would you recommend as a basic criteria to employees of government, especially when they don't take these things seriously? Like Malam mentioned, mindset. Also, as a developmental expert, looking at Malam Mukhtar's submission, sorry, I lost that quickly. On Nigeria losing its track on development plans, what would you recommend to get us back on track? So quickly, Rekia, if you're on the call, do you want to quickly take that? Rekia, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, quickly, what would be your submission? Quickly, we're already far behind our time.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, please, can you like a little bit?
Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I mean the question, sorry.
Or you want me to take the question again? It says in many
I'm supposed to take the question back.
In Nigeria, we see a divide in the administration of the use of technology tools. What would you recommend as a big to employees of government, especially when they don't take these things seriously?
Yes. Okay, is that the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So great input about our mentor, our father. His submissions are fantastic and superb. Yeah. So I think there are so many policies and there are so many implementations that's already been bedded, but just that due to, let me just say, I won't say lack of funds. I can just say lack of understanding and knowledge to use them. So we've been getting back. I think what local government is supposed to emphasize now, all they should do for us to regain back those things we think we are missing. First and foremost, I think should be orientation. There should be like capacity building on issues like this. I think if people have been mentored, people have been oriented on developing skills, I think it can do a lot of things for us. Since the beginning of digital governance here, and then we can't be digitalized. Like Nigerian can't be digitalized all because we still have a lot of holes which are not ready filled. And then it's due to lack of orientation, lack of commitment, lack of transparency and accountability. So if this can be put in place, I think maybe even though we cannot get back on what we want, I think it can be a lot of things. Sorry, please, I was driving and then I didn't
Thank you very much. No, that's
because at least through this day, I think orientation should be the very bigger thing for us to do.
Okay.
Get back
on track.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Solomon, do you want to quickly address the question?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to commend our great leader with us. It was a wonderful submission, and Ambassador have touched a little bit on what I want to say. But let me ask a question. How many of us can even connect with our local government from our point without getting there physically? How many of us? So like he said, we need to first of all build the capacities of this, because this is the only tier of government closer to the people. First thing is to strengthen the institution. Another one is to build the capacity of these people to do that. You know, solutions most times are bottom top. It can be bottom top, it can be top down. But right now, the government as a day must as well bring in an holistic framework that the local government, the sub-national and local government must key into and be that. One capacity, then the other one is, okay, the Civil Service Commission, the local government system to take upon themselves. How often do you integrate even your means of revenue, even your means of what you do into that? How many of us can talk about what goes into local government right now? How many of us can talk about how they spend the money? How many local government at this moment have elected officials? How many staffs do you have there? Is there data to know those that you're catering for? You oversee different departments and ministries, education report to you, agri report to you, the social development report to you, MPC are there. Every local government has these offices. How many of them do we know? How many even local governments have a functional website that you can go to? If I'm to pay to my local government all the way from Abuja, how many can I connect to directly? So there's need. I think first is capacity to be built. There should be an intentional, deliberate, holistic framework to integrate technology in the midst of governance, even at the local level. Data is key. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that fantastic submission there. So we wrap up quickly because we're far behind time. Akim is saying, with increasing population and climate change, farmers have settled for GMOs, excess chemicals and pesticide, which is unhealthy for food and destroys the ecosystem. The challenges are organic. Organic methods are expensive, resource demanding, and lack a sales push. Why is it difficult to push solutions made in Nigeria like this? That's organic, I believe, organic solutions. So that's one. And then lastly, does digital governance imply using some form of internet connection tools to govern a populace, or there's more to it? Okay, quickly, we'll take these two questions and then we wrap up. Solomon, do you want to say something? Ambassador, do you want to say something? Then we wrap up with Malam's final comments before we wrap up.
Okay, if I may get the question again, can I just repeat? I picked part of it. I picked the input aspect of input. I picked the aspect of internet. So I don't know if I can repeat the question once more. I can just give you a say on that.
Great. With increasing population and climate change, farmers have settled for GMOs, excess chemicals and pesticide, which is unhealthy for food and destroys the ecosystem. The challenges are organic. The challenges are organic methods are expensive, resource demanding, and lack sales push. Why is it difficult to push solutions made in Nigeria like this? That's what he's asking. And then lastly, he says, does digital governance imply using some form of internet connection tools to govern a populace, or there's more to it?
Okay, thank you so much for that. First, let me even start for saying that even before we talk about this,
why is it difficult to even market the made in Nigeria organic products or market solutions made in Nigeria? Why is it difficult?
I think why it's difficult for us is just the awareness.
Okay.
One, the digital literacy awareness as well. We should know now that even there's any challenges we are facing right now, for any global challenges I look at, and to address most challenges right now, you must infuse technology, whether security, agri, any other one, social development, there must be a technology part of it right now. There must be a link. And so it gets to the point that we're talking about increasing population. You ask yourself, do you even know the data? How many are we? So we'll tell you about 200. So we tell you, do we know even the number of people in the pro-poor, urban poor, the rural poor? Is there a classification of that? Now the CBN brother, the anchor borrowers came, and yet they need to be a claiming by BVN, by your phone number and every other thing. And you ask yourself, end of the day is the data, but there's a challenge as well. Is it getting to the right people? So what I'm going to say here now, I think we are facing a whole lot of challenges, and the need, like I said before, for digital awareness needs to be there. The Malam Mukhtar, our boss here, our leader here, said a whole lot of things, and it will start from there. Let me just say this: if you want to build any sustainable development right now, for instance, you talk about educating the rural citizens. I talk about bringing in technological education into it. How many of those down there can have access to that? What's the plan? There's been a policies on making that penetration. Like, let me even start with what the person said. There was a policy made talking about penetrating the rural communities, achieving by 70% by the end of 2021. The implementation is there. Where's the environment? We all have these plans on paper. Even in the economic recovery plan, even in the post-pandemic plan, it is there, but it is on paper. What about implementation? How sincere are we to this? Now he's talking about agri and food. Definitely, if we have data, we know how much and what is needed to do that. I think to bring in this, there's need to be deliberate to deliver these digital tools down to the local, those in the pyramid, because that is where we need to be deliberate in creating wealth. For instance, a governor in Lagos State sat down and said, I need to number the streets in Lagos. I need to put in addresses and everything there. That was done. After that was done, what happened? The Google Map came in, Uber came in, because you had that. Most states that don't have that, and you can see what Uber is doing in removing unemployment right now, creating jobs and giving people food to eat. So there must be a deliberate action that needs to be implemented down to those in the local pyramid to address this thing. I think it's high time the government, there needs to be a collaboration, interagency collaboration, the political will, because we have so many data scattered that needs to be integrated together. We have the BVN, we have the national NIN, we have the voters card, we have the passport, we have this thing. During election, you remember them. After election, what happens? The government to bring these agencies together, integrate all this data to make informed decisions. Now, you don't even need to address our boss. Yeah, our leader here was talking about addressing even the collapse and everything. You want to address security challenge that makes the farmers to go to the market right now, you need to increase technology to that. You want to increase trust among citizens and government, you need as well to bring in technology, most transparent, most accountable. For instance, the anchor borrower right now, people are doubting it because most money being deployed don't even get to the real farmers. Now there's a modified scheme. You need to get this data and make sure there's transparency to increase trust in government. So there's need for data. How many kids do we have? They keep telling us every day we have this number of kids out of school. And for every year we're bringing out interventions to address these kids out of school. What is happening? So I think the awareness needs to be there. The climate challenge is going down. Okay. Where's the climate education knowledge about it? So anytime the government, they've drawn up the roadmap. The Minister of Digital Economy and Communications is heading that. But we need to do more. The implementation, it needs to be holistic. We need to strengthen institutions. We need to be deliberate to take this down so we can bridge this divide by creating wealth that can be sustainable to those in the.
Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. Thank you so much. Ambassador, do you want to say any final words? Ambassador Rikia, are you there? Okay, so Madam, let's take your final submission on this, then we wrap up. Can you unmute, please? Madam, can you unmute? Yes.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Well, you see, for me, I'm not skeptical, I'm being realistic. If we are to remove all the obstacles in the way, maybe we need to actually bring together people like Solomon and yourself and other young people I see on the platform who would draw up a plan for themselves in an ideal situation where you're given an opportunity to develop a working system. What would be the things you want to do? One of them, of course, is capacity building. Yeah, you've got sensitization, yes. And then you have to handpick people who are going to do this work. And as far as I'm concerned, if you allow one person to rule over this ecosystem, that person has got to be very, very patient and very focused and very fair. He's got to be a true Nigerian. He's got to be somebody who is tough. He's got to be somebody who doesn't care who ox is God, whether you're from National Assembly, whether you're from government, whether you're this one or that one, you're somebody or nobody. Just get the work done. Let me give you an example, just very, very fast. When you want to build a house, do you call a roadside mechanic to build it for you? Or look for the best architect, the best builder to come and do it for you? That's the situation in Nigeria. Anything goes, it's nothing. We're not going anywhere. In fact, we're destroying ourselves. So I look forward to the day when technical skills will hold the fore, not political skills. Because politicians will come somewhere deep inside me. Nigeria became independent. I remember when Nigeria won the World Cup. I remember Rashidi Yakini shaking that net in jubilation. And you've got so many people who have come, Bassi, the great boxer, and so on and so forth, who made Hogan Bassi, who made Nigeria really proud. We've got Zik, we've got Balewa, we've got Awolowo, we've got Sardauna, we've got so many great people we produced. It was all that been in vain? Our children now wallowing in the mire, they're now walking about on the streets without shirts, without education, without a future. We should beware. If we don't do it properly, we will pay for it. And our children and our great-grandchildren will hold us responsible. Maybe that's what should wake us up. Thank you.
Very, very fantastic and thoughtful of you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. Thank you so much, Malam. Thank you so much, Solomon, and thank you so much, Ambassador, for joining in on this conversation today. Just to mention quickly, this was put together by the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, which is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and evidence-based research think tank focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within the Nigerian state and how we interact with the larger world and the larger society. Just so I mentioned also mindset, very key. Mala Mukhtar mentioned that earlier, mindset. With the whole billions, I mean, even if it is awarded or allocated, will be looted or looted. Mindset, even if they give you the tools or train you on those tools, your mindset will propel you either into using it or dumping those skills. Mindset, if you find yourself in an environment, would you make it better? Would you leave it how it was or make it worse? It's still in the mind, because at some point, no one is going to watch you. It's just going to be you and yourself there who's going to hold yourself accountable. It's still in the mind. So I hope we all take that back home today. As we've joined in, thank you so much for joining in from different parts of the world today. We really appreciate, and we look forward to hosting you next month. But for now, from us at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, we say thank you so much, and please have a great day ahead. And while closing, let's quickly take the national anthem once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, once again. Thank you so much, Malam Mukhtar, Tafa Balewa, for joining. Thank you so much, Solomon Okonkwo. Thank you so much, Ambassador Rekia. Thank you so much, everyone. We love you, and we say have a nice day ahead. Thank you, and bye for now.
Thank you, bye-bye, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.